Well, I think I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna get started. I think people are probably gonna keep trickling in as we go. So for those of you who I have not met, thank you so much for being here. My name is Teresa Coltrane, and I'm a positive mindset and lifestyle coach. And so I support people overcoming stress, decluttering their lives, and getting really clear on what it is that they want to create in their lives and helping them align to that and live a happy, healthy, and successful life. And so that's really where my passion is for doing this work. There's nothing more than I was like thinking about what, one of my favorite parts about being a life coach. And I would say it's always when I get the text from the client of them telling me that they accomplished something that they wanted to do. It's like, I'm probably more excited than they are because it brings me so much joy to help others realize their potential in life and realize all the goodness that they have and all that they can do. And so even just when I'm in a session and the client is having that aha moment and all of a sudden the lights turn on and they can see their situation differently, there's nothing like it for me. So that's my jam, that's my passion, and how I really love to help people. And so today I'm super excited because we're calling this a mindfulness workshop. And so I've got a really cool, agenda laid out for us. And so we're going to be doing some breathing. We're going to be talking a little bit about mindset and then also talk about some exercises and some things that you can do to kind of help you set yourself up for success in life and live life in accordance to your values and be happy and healthy. Because we know right now more than anything, the world really all needs us to be happy and healthy. And we really, we have to support each other. And so to be able to support each other, we have to be happy internally and we have to be healthy. And so really by taking care of yourself mentally and physically, it's the best thing that you can actually do. I always say this sounds like a really big idea, but I just like to plant the seed. But like by you taking care of yourself, you're actually helping humanity. You are helping the whole entire world by taking care of yourself. So self-care is super, super important. And I'm going to dive into kind of what I mean about self-care from a mental mindset perspective. So I'm going to be sharing some tips and tools and tricks. Like I've got everything all lined up here. I was so excited. I had so much to share. I was like, oh my God, I just want to share everything. So we'll see what we get here today, but just know I have a full class for us set for today. So I'm super excited. But before we get started with all of this, I'm actually going to have us start with a breath practice. So wherever you are, just go ahead and sit comfortable. And so what I'm going to be talking a little bit about the breath too after we do our practice here. Really our breath, having a relationship with your breath, learning how to rhythmically breathe, consciously breathe, is really going to be your best defense in life against stress and illness. And I really like to stress on the breath because, not stress on the breath, but emphasize the breath because it's so simple. It's the first thing when we come into this world, it's the first thing we do is breathe. And it's the last thing we do when we're leaving the world. So when you think about breath, breath is our life. It is what grounds us to our human bodies. And so when we are going through everyday life, having a relationship with our breath is going to be key for managing stress because our mind will always follow the breath. And so you'll get to test that out now when we do this breathing practice. And so we'll do the practice and I'm going to start kind of unpacking a little bit of science around some things because I'm super nerdy. I'm a closet nerd about our bodies and neuroscience, by the way. But it really helps you understand yourself. And I think really that's what a lot of us need. We just need to understand ourselves and make sense of what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and what it is that we want in life to make us happy. So wherever you are, let's go ahead and sit in a comfortable position. And you can kind of sit with your spine tall and straight if you want to, or if you're kind of comfortable, you just want to kind of just be present in your body here. And go ahead and close your eyes. And I'm going to lead us through something that's called a 3-point breath practice. So what you'll be doing, you'll be inhaling your breath for 5 seconds. Then you're going to hold your breath for 5 seconds. And then you're going to exhale the breath for 5 seconds through your nose. Okay? So we'll do it a total of 3 times, and I'm going to lead us all through it. So you can get comfortable and close your eyes when you're ready. So go ahead and inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5. And then exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Go ahead and inhale through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold your breath, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then exhale through the nose, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last time, inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold your breath, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5. Now everyone keep your eyes closed. And I want you to just feel in your body, just connect with your heart right now. Put your mind in your body. Maybe taking note of how you're feeling in this moment. Maybe taking note of something extra special you need today. Maybe more hydration, maybe some food, maybe some rest. Or maybe just to be kinder with yourself, with your thoughts. But just stay connected with that. And I want you to imagine just kind of light swelling up in your heart that's just full of love and healing energy. And as you kind of think of that healing energy from your heart, imagine sending that healing energy to your family and your friends, your kids, your clients, people around you in your life. See them all happy, healthy, thriving in their lives. And also with the same loving energy and light, I want you to imagine sending this to all the doctors and nurses all over the world that are working so hard to keep us strong and safe, just sending them an extra little love and gratitude for their work. And then you can expand it from there and just imagine kind of wrapping the whole world in this healing love and light from your heart. And then now you can kind of just set your intentions for our class today. Maybe it's just to come listen. Maybe it's to, find a little wisdom or just connect or be social, whatever that is for you. Connect with that. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back. Welcome back, everybody. So that is a simple breath practice. I kind of added on a little bit of a meditation at the tail end of it, but at the very least, guys, just breathing like that 3 times where you're inhaling for 5 seconds, holding the breath for 5 seconds, and exhaling the breath for 5 seconds. That is an opportunity to bring your mind back into your body and bring yourself back into the present moment. So this helps us when we are in a stressful state, because oftentimes when we're feeling stressed, our mind is kind of just wandering in the future of all the things that we have to do or things that haven't happened yet. And then especially right now, we are in this time of just the unknown. There's a lot of panic, a lot of fear, a lot of worry. There's a lot of things happening with this virus that's kind of activating a lot of fear and a lot of stress with everybody. So our best defense that we have against this, everything that's happening around us, is to go internally and to take a moment to actually connect with your breath, because the mind is always going to follow the breath. So with that breath practice, you can do it in the morning, at lunch, in the evening, whenever you're feeling anxious, before you're getting on a call, or whatever it is that's going on for you. If you're in the middle of the day rushing around and feeling anxious or stressed, or you find yourself being reactive, or whatever that feels like for you. For me, it kind of get like this, like I can tell my whole body is tense, and then I'm kind of like edgy and short. If you're feeling that, that's like a cue, like it's your sign to just excuse yourself and go to a separate room and just take a moment and just do a few breaths like that. Because what it's also doing is it's bringing your nervous system back online. It's bringing your logical thinking back online. Because when we get so worked up like that, we are actually not connected to our logical thinking brain. We're kind of go into our fight or flight mode, into our animalistic kind of way of thinking and being. And so really the breath is going to kind of take you out of that. So I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the science, but before I go there, I just want to share, just for a few people joining in. So the reason why I got so connected with learning how to breathe was because 12 years ago, I lost my father to pancreatic cancer. And so that was one of the most challenging times of my whole entire life. It's a very unexpected life event that happened to me and my family. And it was a year of unknowns, and just, life was just not the same. And basically he passed away in the fall of 2008. A week later, I was let go from my job. And then a week after that, the stock market crashed in 2008. That was the last recession that happened. And then actually a month after that, I was getting married. So I was 25 years old at the time, and life had really exposed its full raw personality to me from that level. And I was waking up every day with anxiety, and I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and I was just in this very kind of wound up, scary, fearful place all the time. And so I started to feel really bad. I started to get sick, and there's just kind of a lot of things that kind of manifested, from being in that fearful anxiety state. And so as I started to not want to be in that state anymore, I started to read about, breathing and meditation and just ways to kind of naturally calm myself during stressful times. And so what I had started to do is I started doing Headspace, because it's, helps you kind of calm down your mind. And believe me, guys, I was not someone who liked yoga or breathing or meditation. I was, a soccer athlete or a half marathon runner. Like, there's just not in my DNA to be calm and like be still. And so, but really what I found is when I actually took out the judgments and just tried it, it actually changed my whole entire world and my whole entire perception, and really kind of brought myself back online to an even brighter space of myself. Basically, when I was going through that hard time losing my dad, I felt like all of a sudden I took off a pair of sunglasses, and that was the reality of my life, was all these hard things. And so I started to learn how to manage stress kind of at an early age with all of those things that are happening. So through the breath, I was able to kind of overcome anxiety and fear. And it's basically been a part of my practice every day. And it's what keeps me calm and grounded for my clients and in my relationships. And so really, developing a relationship with your breath is going to be your best defense for your immune system and your overall longevity in life. And so especially right now when we're dealing with the COVID stuff, your immune system has to be super strong. And so actually with the breathing and calming yourself down from a mental state, you're going to help out your immune system. Okay, so let's talk about what the heck is going on with our nervous system when we are breathing. So we have our sympathetic nervous system. And so the sympathetic nervous system is responsible it gets ignited when we're under stress or fear. So that's when it lights up and starts to fire. It's our fight or flight mode, right? And so really that's only designed like when we were cavemen to keep us protected in life, but if you can imagine, we're all kind of living in that stressful state, like because of technology, we've sped up our lives and we've just kind of started running against the clock, trying to tick all the boxes and trying to be everything everywhere all at once. And that has caused a lot of us to live into that fight or flight mode, which is, activating that sympathetic nervous system and putting that on overdrive. Now we have our parasympathetic nervous system, and so that is responsible for restoring us and healing our body. And so really what we really want is to have a balance between the two, right? Because there are times where we need adrenaline and to be like stress and go getter, but then there's also times where we just need to chill and like relax and everything's cool, because that's the way the body works. It needs both systems to be in harmony. And so when you're breathing, you're allowing that parasympathetic nervous system to do its job. It's coming into your cells and your nervous system to calm you down, to calm your mind down so that you can think and not be emotional and reactive. And so this is kind of hard though, right? Because especially, we've been through a lot of stress right now. And especially if you've been locked home with your kids and you're working full time and you're with your spouse all the time, it's just like, there's like all this stress. And so we have to even more so take good care of ourselves and even breathe even more so that we can regulate our systems so that it can manage the stress of just that, so that we can be like, protected from this environment. So I just wanted to talk to you about that part. And then the other part that happens, so let's say you are operating from that sympathetic nervous system mode where you're just fight or flight, like go, 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 go. Basically what happens then is it actually has an effect on our adrenal glands. And so when we start to go into adrenal fatigue, this means that you're chronically tired. You start to just be edgy and you basically have no energy. It can cause depression, it can cause anxiety. And then from there, it starts to attack the thyroid gland, which is causing imbalances, hormonal imbalances within the body. So that is like the whole cycle of letting stress overconsume. And I think we kind of ignored stress for a while, I think, as a society. And now that we've had COVID, and then now that people have been home and been able to slow down, I think we're now more aware of stress, and we are now more aware of how we were living before. And we're kind of in this space to go, ready to go back to work. So it's kind of like, okay, we got this little break kind of, but how do we want to live forward? How do we want to move from this space forward? Do we want to jump back into the rat race and be stressed and be anxious all the time? Not so much, because right now we are dealing with these unknown virus, and who else knows what's going to happen. And so we have to keep ourselves strong. And so it's really reminding us to go back to our mental health and back to our longevity and our health. So breathing is going to help you regulate all that stuff. So if you are somebody who struggles with adrenal fatigue or thyroid stuff or anxiety, developing a breath practice, even meditation, is going to be really, really good for you. And it's going to be an easy way to manage things. And it's good to be consistent, because you don't want to wait until you're having a bad day to do it. You want to do it every day consistently, because then that's what keeps you balanced and grounded. Okay. So that's one thing I really, really wanted to share with you guys about the breath. So the other flip side to this is, okay, how do we stop ourselves from going into the autopilot, go, 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 rush, 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 because life is busy. So it really has to do with our mental attitude and our mental approach to life. Whatever we are thinking and feeling about ourselves and about our lives, it becomes our reality. And so really, if our approach to life is like, oh my gosh, I have to get all these things done. If I don't, it's the end of the world and I'm going to fail and this is going to happen. Like, that kind of approach is already setting us up into the mode. So we want to refrain from, trying to put ourselves into that mode. You want to really be in a space where you can consciously choose how you want to show up to situations, especially during times of stress. So really, mental thoughts and our mental attitudes, it goes deeper, right? So basically, from our 0 to 7 years, we were born, and in those times we were in a very imprintable age. So anything that was happening in our environment was just basically downloaded into our psyche, and that's how we shaped what the world was around us and what meaning was. So basically, at 7 years old, we made our perception about life, how to get love, how to survive, all from 7 years old. And so now we're like these older beings trying to apply the same kind of mental thoughts towards life now, and it doesn't work. It doesn't match up, because you are an adult, because you are conscious, because you can choose to be different and think differently about life. But those patterns are deeply ingrained in us, and so those are something, that's the part where we all have to do the work. That's why mindfulness work ends up being really hard, because your mind is always going to be on autopilot. Your subconscious mind is basically kind of running the show. And the subconscious mind is what was imprinted when we were at that age. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, but basically the theta, so alpha, beta, theta brainwave modes. I'm going to talk about it later. Basically, as a child, 0 to 7, you are in a theta brainwave state. So basically, anything that happens to you, you download it, and that becomes your program for life. And so the only way to reprogram that is actually to get yourself into a theta state where you can start reprogramming your mind. So basically, that's why people do meditation when they first wake up, or right about before they're going to sleep, because that's the state where your mind can start to change itself. It starts to build new neuroplasticity. So really, that's the scientific answer of how to break, repetitive rumination and thought patterns and negative habits and bad things, right? So it does take a lot of work. It takes you to being conscious. And so basically, mindfulness, when we talk about being mindfulness, it's actually the concept of just paying attention. It's paying attention in your life by being present in the present moment, and actually being observer of your thoughts, knowing that you are not your thoughts. Not all of your thoughts are true, and that you get to decide how you want to think about something. So those kind of 3 things, when you start to think about mindfulness, it opens up a whole new world of existence. And to know that you not all of your thoughts are true, that's huge, right? Because we kind of just get in this mode, and we start living from that space. And when you're approaching life, if you're thinking that, of course you're going to be in the sympathetic nervous system mode, like fight or flight all the time. And so really, that's where our job has to come in to work really hard to balancing our minds so that we are getting in control of our thoughts and our behaviors, because whatever we're thinking and believing and feeling, that's what we are going to create more of in our life. And that is just our power as humans. Whatever you think, whatever you're thinking, feeling, and believing, that is going to become your life. And so if you think about that now, like, it's a good opportunity to kind of think about, okay, well, what is it that I am thinking about myself? What is it that I'm thinking about my life? How am I showing up to the scenarios in my life? Am I showing up as my best self, or am I showing up as my panicked fear state? I always like to call it your inner critic. And you can totally name your inner critic too. But like, anytime I become like a negative, harsh critic of myself, I get anxiety, fear, self-doubt, like any of that kind of negative talk, that's my cue to know that I haven't taken care of myself, and that I've kind of just slipped away into the subconscious mind and just kind of letting negative patterns and habits kind of take over. And so really that's my sign of like, okay, I need to stop. I need more self-care. I need more rest. I need more meditation. So that's another way to kind of help guide yourself out of that space for yourself. And we're going to do a little exercise here in just a little bit to kind of dive in a little bit deeper. But basically, I wrote something down yesterday when I was making my class notes, and I really like this. So what I'm asking you with mindfulness is really to be brave enough to see what is going on in your life that's no longer serving you or that's hurting you in a negative way, that's causing you to have negative patterns or negative things that are happening in your life, and to be strong enough to take action to stop those patterns from happening in your life. And I think that, you guys, is probably the hardest things as humans to actually be brave enough to face yourself. That's going to be one of the hardest things that you do, is to be able to face parts of you that you want to change, and then actually to take action is even the harder part. So all of my amazing clients I work with, I always cheer them on and tell them that they are so brave because they're doing work to help themselves become better. And what we talked about at the beginning of the call, when you work on yourself, you're helping all of humanity. So it's really it's more than just about you. It's about your space, your environment, and the people around you, your communities. So by you strengthening yourself and working on yourself, you're going to improve everything else around you. And that's just kind of really what it is when we kind of peel back the layers and look at everything. But to kind of get to that space too, to kind of get to a space where you're not in a negative part of life, you really kind of have to know, how you're showing up. So for example, have you ever talked to people before and all they tell you is everything that's going wrong? Like, it's like, oh, they're like, how are you? You say, how are you? And they're like, oh, well, I'm okay. This happened, blah, blah, blah. Like, they just kind of unload and tell you all the negative things that have happened. That's what I'm kind of talking about. So it's like, showing up to your life, are you focusing on all the negative things that are happening to you? Or is there a way to also see all the positive things that are happening and choose to focus on the positive things that are happening? And that's the kind of control I'm talking about, is when you can get to a space where you can kind of be in the middle and see yourself like, okay, I can either go that way and focus on negativity, or I can go to the right and focus on all the positive and kind of have growth from that space. So that's kind of that first level of awareness of just observing yourself, how you're thinking, how you're speaking, how you're showing up to life, and being just aware of knowing how you want to show up to your life. How do you want to show up to your life? If you are showing up negatively, how do you want to show up? How do you want to see yourself? How do you want to present yourself to your family, to your kids, to your clients, to whatever that is for you? So something that I do with my clients that I thought we could talk about today is really deciding what it is that you want in your life. And this is kind of where, like, learning how to manage stress can be really helpful, because what I find when people are under a lot of stress, it's because they're disconnected from their values in life. So they're basically living life in a way for survival and reactive mode, and they've been disconnected to values that make them happy and healthy in life. And so when we talk about like making changes in life, it has to really come from what our value system is, what our belief system is, and how true are we living our life in accordance with those values. So most of the time when people do this exercise, they start to realize, well, actually, I value all these things, but I'm not really living by these things on a daily basis. So something that I've done with my clients is really learning how to identify what your top 5 values are in life. And so what I mean by values, it means like communication, service, health, nutrition, your career. Like, what is it that you value most in your life? And really, that's the space we want to be building our life from, is from our values. And it may sound simple, and maybe some of you are like, got that down and that's what you do, and that's awesome. But for some people, maybe not. You may not be living in total alignment. And so sometimes when things are tough and we're feeling stuck and we're feeling stressed, we think something's wrong with us. We're like, what's wrong with me? I'm just doing everything that everybody told me to do. I'm checking all the boxes. I have the job, I have the house, I have this, I checked all the boxes, but I'm not feeling good. Well, this is a huge sign of that you are disconnected from what truly makes you happy, what makes you whole as a human being. And so I believe that connecting with your values, even if you did this once a quarter, I think it's amazing, because we are always growing, changing, and shifting. And so if you are using the same approach all the time to life and things aren't working, it's not the answer, right? It's really to know who you are and what it is that you want that makes you happy in life, so that you can feel fulfilled. And when you are fulfilled and happy, then everything else around you is happy. And so really, I think that that's my perception of what causes people to feel unhappy in life, is just that disconnection from the values. So if you have a piece of paper in front of you, I want you to go ahead and take a moment and just write down your top 5 values. So whether that be family, whether that be communication, service, loyalty, what are your top five values that are most important to you right now in your life in this time and space? So if you have a moment, take out your pen and paper and go ahead and write those down. So mine happened to be service, family, career, health, and mental well-being. Like all of that is kind of part of my top 5. And so you just want to take a moment to write out your top 5 values. And so what we're going to be doing with these top 5 values is, this is kind of what you're setting up for yourself to create your life to not be in a stressful mode, right? Like when we can kind of get clear on what it is that we want, then we know what to fix. Then we know where to go from there, instead of just being in reactive mode, which happens from time to time, right, guys? When something unexpected happens to us, or you have a big life transition, like having a baby or a new job or moving, you kind of just adapt, and that's needed, and that makes sense, right? But in time, as you're adapting, you start to see things that are not working or not feeling good. That's kind of your cue to be like, okay, let me go back to my value system. How can I show up into this unknown space or this transition from my values? How can I live in this unknown space from my values that supports me to feel happy, healthy, and whole? And so this is so important, right? Because once you know your values, then you can communicate your values to people. You can set your whole life around your values. So you can do this with your work team, or you can do it with your partner and spouse. That's always probably the biggest one with your partner and spouse is, you may have a value and an expectation in your mind of how you think something should be or how someone should behave. But if that partner doesn't know those expectations of your values, there's going to be a disconnect in communication. And that happens all the time. And that happens at work or couples, where you value something, you have an expectation for it, and you expect the other person to live up to it, but they don't know because you didn't communicate it to them. So this is a really cool exercise to even just do with your team at work, or a partner, or your spouse, or whatever, because again, you guys are getting clear on what's most important to you, what makes you happy and whole as a human being. And then from there, you're going to be creating your life from this space. So as you guys have written down the top 5s of your values, the next part of this is to go ahead and rank how well you're living this value in your life. From on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how well are you living your life in accordance to this value, or these values, I should say. And so this part's always the truth moment, right? Because you start like going through and you're like, oh, I am definitely not. But maybe you are. Maybe you're one of those people, you're a rock star and you've got it dialed in and you're doing it, and that's awesome. Or maybe there's just 1 or 2 that you're not. But this, again, it's bringing that awareness. It's helping you pay attention into your life of what you need to feel happy and whole that will allow you to create your life from this space. So as you're ranking yourself, you're probably either surprised or not surprised, and that's okay. But you want to use this as, a filtering system is what I like to call it. So once you've identified your values and what's most important to you and what you need to feel happy and whole, you want to let your values be your filtering system. So if anything from the outside world is coming in, it has to go through the value system filter so that you don't get swept away in doing things that are not in alignment with who you are and what you need to be successful. Now that can be hard. I will say I'm a recovering people-pleasing perfectionist. That is my alter ego. That's my negative inner critic. And so oftentimes, I mean, I really love to serve. I really love to help people. And I can tend to get lost in that and over serving. And when I overserve, that puts me, flip side, like I can't do anything for myself, and then then I get sick, and then I can't help any of my clients. So that's one example of one of my negative patterns. So being in alignment with service and being able to not overgive that's a value. So I love service, but I know my boundary with it. So I can kind of see, okay, when something comes in, I have to go through the value filter. Okay, how much time and energy is this going to take me? How is this going to make me feel? Is it in alignment with my family values and what I have going on in my life right now? So that's another thing, because that's another external source that could come into your life that causes you to kind of fall off track or causes extra debris when it doesn't really need to. So having your values and a value system filter, that is really how you're also going to help decrease the stress in your life, clear the debris in your life. And so that's, a good rule of thumb to kind of live by as you're setting yourself up. So if you are feeling stressed in your life, you kind of want to do some of these exercises. Now, the next cool part to this is also doing a life inventory. And so this is also something fun I do with my clients. And we love to, we check in at the end of the year, because it's so cool, because you're like, okay, what's working, what's not working? I want to create a plan for it. So with a life inventory, it's another space for you, again, to pay attention. Hone in on the areas of things that are not working well for you. What's working well, what's not working well, and how can you change this? And so really you want to just approach everyday life and just see where all the pain points are. Usually is a good place to start, meaning when I say pain points, I'm meaning you're stressed, it's tiring, you don't like it, it makes you cranky. That's a good place to start, because chances are it's something you maybe not have to do anymore. Maybe you just were adjusting at the time when the unknown event happened into your life and you just had to do it that way. But now maybe it can be delegated. Maybe you don't have to do it anymore. Maybe you can ask for help. This is where you're going to start to become a creator of your life and your circumstances, rather than being a reactive to what's happening to you. Because oftentimes life can just happen on us and to us, and we're and we're just in reactive mode. So this is helping you not be in that reactive space, so that you can kind of, say, this isn't working for me. And maybe you have to have a couple of difficult conversations in these areas when you're doing the life inventory. Maybe you have to have a conversation with your spouse or a coworker of saying, hey, this workload is too much for me. I wanted to help at first, but it's too much for me now, and I need to not have this. Whatever that is for you, it's okay to own what you need, because that's where your happiness comes from. By you honoring yourself in a way of knowing your values and showing up in your life and being able to create your life from this space, that's a form of self-love and self-care. And when we have self-love and self-care and self-respect for ourselves, that's when our immune system is happy. That's when we're happy in life. And then again, you guys, that's how we're going to help the whole world. So that's the bigger purpose. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for us, because we really need you. We really need your light and your special talents. So life inventory. So you got your values, you got your life inventory, go through life, see what's working, see what's not working. And that's going to be a really strong thing that you can do. And then from that point, this is where you can start to create an action plan, or take what I call as a life blueprint. So that's the other part I do with my clients. It's super fun. You create a life blueprint. And so the life blueprint is basically taking all the important things from your top 5 values and categorizing them. And you can make it into a big vision board, or you can have it into a journal. And basically you highlight the areas you want to focus on from your values. And then you start to create an action plan under the values, and then you start to incorporate this into your everyday life. And so this is the fun part at the end of the year. I always love to do a end of year check-in, because if you do this activity, the life blueprint, at the beginning of the year, and then you go through the whole year and you check in, you can say, oh my gosh, I did it. I lived to my values. I did what I said I wanted to do. And then you feel so great about your life, and you feel excited because you actually took action and you're living life on your own terms. It's so powerful. So it's a really fun exercise to do. But really creating a blueprint for yourself and how you want to live your life. It's living with intention. So again, it's that mindfulness piece. You're being mindful and creating your life from your values, creating your life on your own terms, and really choosing to be responsible and take charge of your own happiness in life. So I think it's so beautiful to know that we can all do that. No matter where you are and what you're going through, there's a way to kind of figure out a way to make it work for yourself. So that's something that's super important. Okay, guys. So after we've talked a lot about how to, de-stress by becoming more aware in your world, becoming aware of what's working, what's not working, your values, all of that good stuff, I want to actually lead you guys through a visualization exercise. So this is super fun. So I'm going to ask you to kind of just go big here, but we're going to do a visualization exercise to kind of help you start to shift yourself into the mode of becoming a creator of in your own life of what it is that you truly want to create for yourself. So wherever you are, sit comfortably. If you're driving, don't do this. If you're operating machinery, don't do this. So if you're just in a space where you can sit and be quiet, go ahead and close your eyes. And just kind of breathe in and out. And I want you to think of those top 5 values that you wrote down for yourself. And I want you just to connect with those values, what they were. And I wanted you to connect with how those values make you feel when you think of each one. You might feel fulfilled, supported, safe, grounded, organized, happy, whatever that is for you, connect with those values. Okay, so you've got the values in your mind and in your heart. Now I want you to imagine that you're just waking up for the day. Your eyes are opening and you're waking up to the day. And imagine that you are living this perfect life that you've imagined in your mind's eye, with your values, with all your goals you've ever had about yourself. Imagine you are actually living that perfect life. I want you to see yourself waking up, sitting up, and that is your life. What is it that you're doing? Who are you waking up next to? What are you doing? What is it that you're waking up to do? How are you feeling in your body? You might feel happy and joyful and healthy, rejuvenated. Maybe you're feeling excited about the work you're getting to do. Now imagine yourself getting up and starting your day. What are you going to do? Who are you going to meet? What kind of work are you doing? What does your house look like? What does your kitchen look like? Where are you living? What state or country are you in? Who's around you in this environment? What is it that you've maybe accomplished that's led you into this perfect time and space of your life? So see yourself walking through, living your life in this space of this perfect idea that you have for yourself, of this living your life from your values. Any thoughts that you've had, like, oh, I always wanted to do this, or I wish I had this, that's where this space is for. Imagine you're living that right in this moment. How are you feeling? What are your thoughts? How's your energy? What do you look like? How do you speak? How do you walk? What are you driving? Put yourself in all of that. And as you're walking through that life, just being there presently, taking a look around, just stop for a moment, look around at everything. And just take it all in, everything that you see, everything that you're feeling, everything that you're doing. And when you come back, you can come back now, open your eyes, and just take a moment, and I want you to write down what you saw and what you were doing and how you were feeling. And so this is going to be key to a daily exercise that I'm going to invite you guys to do for your success, to help manage stress and help you create a life on your own terms. Just take a moment to write what you saw, what you were feeling, what you were thinking, who you were with, anything that is reminding you of being in that space. I'll give you just a little bit more to write. And so what we just did is we connected with our values, and then we closed our eyes, and then we connected our life and our imagination and creative side of our brain to start to think about what it is that we want to create for ourselves. So this is a really powerful way to kind of just start changing your mind from being in that automatic stress like habit like way of living into understanding that you can create and show up in your life how you want to show up in your life. So what I want to invite you guys to do is to actually do what we just did, that little meditation of just imagining ourselves being in our perfect life, you know, walking through that life. I'm going to challenge you guys to try for 40 days to do that before you go to sleep at night. It's a really, really powerful exercise, and it's a really beautiful way to fall asleep, to imagine yourself living the life that you want to live. This puts you in a manifestation space in your life. And so what really happens, so I'm going to circle back to the brainwave topic that I was talking about a little bit earlier. So basically, when we're awake, we're in beta mode. So that's just we're in beta mode. And when we are in alpha mode, we're kind of in this restive, restorative space. So they kind of say people who actually, you know, can meditate or snowboard or surf or kind of just do anything that kind of is calming to somebody, that puts you in an alpha state. And when you're in that alpha state, your mind is more susceptible to ideas and creative ways of thinking. And so when you start to think about, you know, your life in this way, and as you fall asleep, then what happens is as you're falling asleep, then you go into the theta brainwaves, which is where the subconscious mind starts to reprogram itself. It starts to build new neuroplasticity. So that's actually how you start to unwind yourself from patterns that no longer serve you with thinking and thoughts. And then as you're doing this creative thinking and imagining, you're actually rewiring your brain on a scientific level to create new neuroplasticity around a happier, healthier way of being in your life. So this is really powerful. If you guys really are curious about this exercise, I really invite you to do it and just watch your life. See what happens to you when you wake up the next morning after you do this. See how you're feeling and how things start to change around you. And really, you just want to imagine your life going exactly how you want it. Even if it's not like that now, just before you go to sleep, imagine your life exactly how you want it, and just start to see what happens in your day-to-day life. So I hope you guys enjoyed the class. This is the wrap-up of the class. So we talked about breathing and how important this is for your stress management in your life, and how it gives you access to being able to use your brain to actively create your life, connect with your values so that you can live a life from a happy, healthy space, because the world needs you to. It will help the whole entire world and your community and everyone around you when you are happy, healthy, and grounded. So these are just some of my most favorite tips that I wanted to share with you guys throughout class today. You know, as we're talking about mindfulness, this is what mindfulness is to me. This is paying attention to your life, deciding that you can take responsibility for your happiness, and creating your life in a space that works for you so that you can show up and be the best version as you, and really living a life of truth, living your purpose in your life. So yeah, so try out the meditation. Let me know how it goes. If you have any questions, you can submit them in the chat box here. I can do a little Q&A if you guys have any questions or want to talk about anything. Feel free to write a question in there. Also, yeah, you can find me on Instagram. It's Teresa, Teresa.Coltrin, Coltrin. I post a lot of videos and mindfulness stuff on there. And then you can visit my website, letgolivecoaching.com is a good way to connect. And yeah, just remember, as you go throughout your life, you are worthy of having the life that you want, and it's all there in front of you. You just have to connect with yourself, go inwards, connect with your heart, connect with what you really want in life, and just kind of take these actions to create the positive change in your life. And I promise, once you start to change, your environment is going to change, and then the world is going to change. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you all really enjoyed this class. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and your lunch hour. Thank you to Strengthen the City. This is such a beautiful, awesome cause. I'm so grateful to have been a part of all of this. It just brings me so much joy to do this work. So thank you for making my month and my week and my day today. This is awesome. And thank you for everyone who's here. And yeah, does anyone have any questions for me or want to connect on anything? Thank you everyone for coming. I think everyone's good. Okay, well, I'm wishing you all a wonderful day and a happy week. Stay safe. Thank you for being here. Take good care of yourself. Remember to breathe, and I'm here for you. Okay, guys. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye.